A single drop of oil is all it takes to pull me from my thoughts. It falls from somewhere in the vaulted machinery above and lands with unnerving precision on my command console. The droplet catches the dim crimson lumens, a tiny universe of red swimming in black. I watch as it slowly spreads across the metal, claiming the surface a few millimeters at a time, like some small, stubborn rebellion against regulation and cleanliness. My fingers hover above it, reluctant to disturb this minor imperfection. The oil reminds me that something organic still intrudes upon our existence, even here in this walking cathedral of steel. Moderati Fen, status report. The voice of Princeps Majoris Violin cuts straight through my distraction. I wipe the oil away with my sleeve, erasing the evidence of my wandering mind into the dark fabric of my uniform. All weapon systems nominal. Primary void shields at full capacity. Machine spirit reading stable, I respond, the words coming automatically. A litany I've spoken so many times it might as well be etched into my bones. My eyes move across the runes and scrolling script before me, translating sacred tech glyphs into information my limited human mind can still grasp. The console thrums beneath my fingertips, warm and alive, like blood moving through veins. Not my blood, it's blood. I serve within the glory of Khal, a warlord-class titan of Legio Praegius. For 12 years, I have known no other home, no other duty. The machine god cradles me in its iron embrace. I am grateful. I must be grateful. Anything else would be heresy. We stand upon the blasted plains of Kai's Prime, a world wavering on the edge of compliance. This rebellion must be broken. The Emperor's will must be imposed. Once, such thoughts stirred righteous fire in me. Now they exist merely as facts. Colorless, inevitable, unquestioned. Behind me, the command throne hisses as Princeps Valen shifts. I do not turn. I already know what I would see. His withered body suspended in a web of cables, plugs, and neural interfaces. More engine than man, his mind is so deeply interwoven with the machine spirit that I sometimes wonder if violence still exists at all, or if the glory of Khal merely wears the memory of a man like a mask. The enemy approaches from the northeast quadrant, announces Moderati Secundus Lorak, her voice flat and precise. Infantry formations with armored support. Crew designs. Threat assessment minimal. A faint tremor runs through the deck beneath my boots. The Titan is eager. It hungers for battle, for destruction, for the chance to fulfill its ordained function. The hunger is not mine, and yet it has lived in me for so long that I can barely tell where its urge ends and my own begins. Reactor output increasing, reports the engineer from the levels below. The machine spirit awakens. My hands sweep over the weapon controls in a practiced pattern. The volcano cannon's capacitors begin to whine as they drink in impossible energies. The Gatling blaster spins up for a heartbeat, motors testing, drums shifting. On our left, the massive power fist flexes as hydraulics pressurize with a deep, satisfying growl. We are a god preparing for war. For the moment, my view slits show only darkness, broken by occasional flashes of distant artillery. Soon that narrow human perspective will be drowned in something far greater. The Titan's own array of augers and optics, its senses poured directly into my mind through the interface socket at the base of my skull. I will see as the machine sees. I will feel what it feels. I will become something more than human, and something less. Moderati Fen, bring primary weapons online. Plot firing solutions for enemy armor concentrations. Yes, Princeps. My fingers dance across the runes. Ancient systems respond like loyal hounds. The air grows thick with incense and the crackle of ozone from active circuitry. Around us, servitors chant in cold, stuttering binaric, their half-metal mouths reciting prayers that soothe the Titan spirit. Silently, I add my own ritual. Grant me your strength that I may direct your wrath. Grant me your sight that I may find your enemies. Grant me your wisdom that I may serve your purpose. The moment of joining is close. I can feel the mounting pressure at the base of my skull as the primary interface warms. The boundary between flesh and machine is about to be pierced again. I crave this moment. I dread it. To war we go, Violin intones. Commencing battle, neural synchronization. Ave Imperator, we answer together. The interface stabs into my consciousness. Pain erupts through my skull, white-hot and blinding. My jaw clenches. The taste of copper floods my mouth as I bite through my own lip. It doesn't matter. My flesh is incidental now. I am becoming more. My awareness surges outward along the conduits and fiber lines of the glory of Kal-E. I feel its vast bulk as if it were my own limbs and bones. Suddenly, I stand hundreds of feet tall, wrapped in adamantium, promethium, and coolant, roaring through me like blood. The furnace heart of the plasma reactor thrums inside my chest, barely contained rage turned into motive force, and I am not alone in this body. The Princeps will towers over the shared mind, a steady, dominating presence directing the symphony of violence to come. Lorak is there as well, disciplined, precise, a sharp, cool edge in the gestalt. Below us, dozens of lesser minds, crew, servitors, attendants, form a background chorus of dim sensations and data. We take our first step, and the world trembles. Deep in my restraint throne, my human body convulses in time with the Titan's stride. Every impact reverberates through my muscles. My hands grip the weapon controls until my knuckles burn. I am still Kairos Fen, but I am also one fragment of the glory of Kal. The line between the two grows thinner with each heartbeat. Through the Titan's enhanced gaze, the battlefield reveals itself. Enemy infantry scatter like insects, their las and solid-shot weapons scratching uselessly at our void shields. Crude tanks lumber forward, their silhouettes clumsy and primitive by Imperial standards. They are brave, I think distantly, but doomed. Primary target lock established, I report. Volcano cannon charged and ready. Fire. The single word from Violin echoes through the shared mind like a bell. I press the firing rune. There is a moment's resistance, then release. The volcano cannon roars. A beam hotter than a sun knifes across the plain, turning rock into glass and metal into incandescent vapor. The lead tank vanishes in a sphere of obliteration, along with everything within 50 meters. When the light fades, only a perfectly circular crater remains. Satisfaction floods up from the machine spirit, a deep, contented growl of purpose fulfilled. My own human emotions echo it like a pale reflection. This is what we were made for. This is holy work. Enemy artillery answers us, shells arcing through the smoky sky. Most do nothing but flare against our void shields, itching at the edge of our awareness. One lucky round slips through, slamming into our left leg. Pain lances up the shared body. A moment later, the damage readouts translate that pain into reports. Minor damage to left greave armor, Lorak notes calmly. No systems compromised. Advance, Violin orders. Maximum stride. We will crush them beneath our feet. The Titan surges forward faster. Each step carries us dozens of meters. The ground shatters under our tread. Structures crack and tumble in our wake. We move like an iron storm. I sweep the Gatling blaster toward a dense knot of enemy infantry who, through courage or stupidity, hold their ground. The weapon answers my thought with a bellow. Thousands of rounds tear through bodies and armor alike, turning human beings into red mist and scattered limbs. Even through smoke and dust, the spray of blood is visible. I feel nothing for them. How could I? From this height, they are specks. Numbers in a targeting grid. Enemy armor attempting to flank from southeast quadrant. I report as their heat signatures bloom across our auspex. Unacceptable, Violin snaps. We pivot with surprising grace for something so massive. The power fist comes to bear. At a thought, its energy field flares to life, crackling blue lightning dancing across the adamantine digits. We swing. The blow smashes the lead tank into scrap, flattened in an instant. The overflowing energy arcs to nearby vehicles, cooking their crews alive inside their hulls. For a heartbeat, I taste something like burnt metal and ash through the neural link. The echo of their deaths turned into a sensory glitch. The enemy breaks, Lorak announces, retreating toward the city center. They will find no sanctuary, Valen replies. Prepare for urban combat protocols. Moderati Fen, load incendiary ammunition in the Gatling blaster. Yes, Princeps. I shift the munitions feed. Deep within our arm, colossal drums rotate. Standard shells are replaced with incendiary rounds designed to burn hot enough to soften steel and devour hab blocks. They will not just kill, they will cleanse. A brief, unwelcome thought flickers through me. There will be civilians in that city. Not all who dwell there chose rebellion. Many are merely trapped between forces too vast to comprehend, just trying to live. The thought dies almost as quickly as it arose. Crushed, whether by Valen's will pressing down on the link or by my own conditioned reflex. I cannot tell. Mercy has no place in the Collegia Titanica. We are not instruments of salvation. We are engines of compliance. We march toward the city. Its skyline is already shattered from earlier bombardments. Through shared sight, I watch Warhound Titans racing ahead, nimble hounds circling the settlement. Tank squadrons roll in our shadow. Infantry follows in their turn, ready to occupy whatever remains. None of them matter, only the God Machine matters. The glory of Kal strides alone. Target the Central Administrative District, Valen commands. Let them watch their seat of rebellion burn. Again, the volcano cannon draws in power. I feel the strain of containment fields holding back apocalyptic energy. Heat haze shimmers around the barrel. I align the targeting reticle with care, centering the shot on the largest structure at the city's heart. Firing solution locked, I say. Fire. I depress the rune. Another blazing lance erupts, piercing the administrative spire from top to bottom. For a moment, the building glows from within like a lantern. Then its core detonates, and the entire structure implodes. Secondary explosions cascade outward as power grids overload and fuel stores cook off. Fire leaps hungrily from building to building. Tiny figures pour from the inferno, running in all directions. From this distance they are only shapes, but something in me recoils. A forgotten part of myself stirs. Pity, remorse, those useless human feelings that should have been burned out of me long ago. Valen's attention turns toward me through the link like a searchlight. His presence pushes into my thoughts, testing, probing for cracks. I force the emotions down, burying them under weapon data, telemetry, target lists, damage reports. I make myself small inside the machine's mind. Your thoughts wander, Moderati Fen, Valen says, both aloud and across the link. Such distraction dishonors the machine spirit. Forgiveness, Princeps, I answer, falling automatically into ritual wording. I am fully committed to our sacred task. Remain so. We push deeper into the burning streets. Anything that stands is brought low. Buildings that have endured for centuries come apart in moments. Art, history, knowledge, all vanish in plasma fire and collapsing masonry, reduced to rubble in the name of compliance. Time blurs. In the merged state, minutes and hours bleed together. The Titan moves through avenues built for ground vehicles a fraction of our size, grinding through structures when they block our path. Occasionally, some desperate soul attempts to target our joints or censor arrays with heavy weapons. They die for their ambition, crushed underfoot or erased by a Gatling burst. Every impact, every weapon discharge, every shield flare is fed through the neural link. My human body reacts to it all. Muscles tightening and relaxing, heart racing, sweat soaking into my robes, despite the climate controls of my station. Eventually, resistance falters and dies. Valen commands a halt where the city center once stood. Now it is only a plain of fused glass and smoking stone. The Titan looms over the wreckage, a colossus of the Omnissiah surveying the work of its hands. Kai's Prime is compliant, Valen declares. The Emperor's will is done. The link begins to disengage. It is always a slow, brutal process. Bit by bit, the Titan's immense awareness recedes from my mind, leaving only my own small consciousness. I return to my body like a diver breaking the surface after sinking too deep. I feel fragile, weak. Every joint throbs. My muscles ache from hours locked in sympathetic tension. Blood still stings on my tongue from the bite. I cannot recall drinking or eating at any point in the battle, but I know the servitors must have tended to my basic needs without interrupting my communion. Stand down from combat stations, Valen orders, his voice now only in my ears, not in my head. Perform post-battle rites and prepare status reports. Yes, Princeps, we answer together. I slump in my restraint throne, utterly spent. This is the price of godhood. Pain and exhaustion, a body never meant to channel such enormity. Servitors shuffle closer, clanking and humming. One offers a hydration bulb. I seize it and drink greedily. Another begins removing the secondary neural connectors from my arms and chest, leaving only the primary socket at my nape in place. Moderati Fen, Valen calls from his throne. Attend me. My legs protest as I stand, but I force them to obey. I walk to the rear of the command deck and stop before him, lowering my gaze in deference. What remains of Valen sits slumped in his throne, a tangle of tubes, cables, and metal supports dwarfing the shriveled remnant of his flesh. His body is mostly an afterthought now. Flesh reluctantly tolerated by the machine. Your performance today was adequate, he rasps through Vox augments. But I detected hesitation during the assault on the city. Explain. There is no point in lying. The neural link lays the soul bare. A momentary lapse, Princeps, I admit. Undisciplined thoughts regarding civilian casualties. His eyes, one of the few unaugmented parts of his face, narrow. Such concerns are beneath us, Moderati. We are the Emperor's judgment. We do not question, we execute. Yes, Princeps. It will not happen again. See that it does not. I have invested significant resources in your training. It would be unfortunate if you proved unsuitable. The implication hangs in the air like a blade. Those who fail the Collegia Titanica are never simply dismissed. They are repurposed. Their skills and bodies are reassigned to more limited functions. Many end up as servitors, minds scrubbed clean, reduced to obedient meat wrapped in cable and steel. I understand, Princeps, I say quietly. I'm grateful for your correction. He dismisses me with a tiny nod. I return to my station and begin the post-battle rituals. Sacred oils must touch the controls in the correct sequence. Prayers of thanks must be recited with precise intonation. Damage logs must be compiled and forwarded to the tech priests who will oversee the Titan's repairs. These rites occupy several hours. Each step is carved into my memory, executed with an almost mechanical precision. Only when all is complete am I allowed to retire. My quarters lie just off the command deck, a modest cell befitting a servant of the Omnissiah who must always be close at hand. The glory of Cal may be summoned to war with little warning. As Moderati Primus, I must always be ready. The cell is bare, a narrow bunk, a small shrine to the Emperor and the machine god, a desk where I study tactical logs and technical manuals. The only personal object is an aquila pendant carved from the bone of a fallen comrade from my first campaign. Keeping it borders on sentiment, a weakness I should have purged. And yet it remains. I strip off my sweat-soaked robes and wash at the small basin in the corner. The lukewarm water smells faintly chemical from endless cycles of purification and reuse through the Titan systems. I do not resent it. Sharing in the God Machine's resources is a privilege. Sleep takes me quickly, but it is no refuge. In my dreams, I still stride as a giant, still reduce cities to ash. This time, though, I hear the screams clearly. I see faces in the flames, faces that were just dots on a screen during battle. I jolt awake more than once, breath ragged, skin slick with new sweat despite the chill of the air. Between these broken fragments of rest, my thoughts drift backward, tracing the path that brought me here. I was born on a forge world, child of laborers who tended the factories that spat out the Imperium's endless needs. From my earliest days, I was taught to revere the machine, to see divinity in gears and circuitry. When representatives of the Collegia Titanica arrived in search of candidates, I stood among those who volunteered, burning with the belief that there was no higher calling than to serve within a God engine. They tested us for physical endurance, mental resilience, neural compatibility. I excelled. I was chosen. And now, years later, I lie awake in a metal cell inside a walking god, wondering exactly how much of Kairos Fen remains, and how much of me has already been fed, piece by piece, to the glory of Calm. 9 out of 10 candidates failed. The fortunate ones were sent back to their old lives. The less fortunate were given over to servitude in other forms. I was one of the few who passed, my mind judged suitable for communion with a machine spirit. What followed were years of training, endless rites and rituals to memorize, technical specifications, battlefield doctrines, the proper order of every sacred sequence. I learned to push my own identity aside, to hollow myself out so something greater could move through me. To be a vessel for the will of the Princeps and, through him, the will of the Titan itself. My first battle was a revelation. The power, the flood of sensation, the perspective of a god looking down on an anthill. I reveled in it then, drunk on the certainty that our cause was righteous and unquestionable. I do not know when that certainty began to crumble. There was no single moment, no clear fracture line. Perhaps it has been a long, slow erosion, doubt wearing at faith the way water grinds down stone. I know these thoughts are dangerous. Doubt breeds hesitation. Hesitation breeds failure. Failure leads to replacement. And replacement is never kind. I push myself up from the bunk and kneel before the small shrine in my quarters. The skull-visaged emperor stares back at me from his icon, cold and unyielding. Beside him, the sigil of the Omnissiah promises understanding through machinery and obedience. I begin to recite the litany of focus, the words so ingrained they flow without effort. My mind is a weapon. My faith is a shield. My purpose is clear. I serve the Omnissiah and the Emperor, now and forever. The repetition soothes me. Structure returns. By the time I finish, the doubts have been forced back, locked in some distant corner of my mind where they cannot interfere with my duties. The Vox caster in my quarters crackles to life. All command crew to stations. Repeat, all command crew to stations. I rise at once, pull on fresh robes, and trace the sign of the cog across my chest. Duty calls, and I will answer. I am Moderati Kyros Fen of Legio Praegius. I serve the glory of Cal. I serve the Omnissiah. I serve the Emperor. Everything else is irrelevant. The corridor outside thrums with activity as I make my way to the command deck. Servitors and junior crew hurry past, performing the countless tasks required to ready a Titan for movement. I pass a tech priest stooped over a leaking hydraulic line, his mechadendrites writhing like metal serpents as they wield tools with inhuman precision. Praise the Omnissiah, he intones as I pass. Praise be, I answer automatically. When I step onto the command deck, it is already alive with motion. Hololithic displays show tactical overlays and system statuses. Moderati Lorik gives me a brief nod as I take my station, her face smooth and unreadable as ever. Sometimes I wonder if she struggles with doubts as I do, or if her faith truly remains uncracked. Princeps Valen sits upon his command throne, eyes closed, already half submerged in communion with the machine spirit, even without a full battle link. His withered body barely moves, only the occasional twitch of a finger or the slow rise of his chest, betraying that there is still a man inside all that machinery. He is more engine than flesh now. A grim preview of what awaits me if I serve long enough. New orders have arrived, Valen announces, eyes still closed. The rebellion on Kai's Prime has been crushed. Remnant elements flee toward the northern continent. The glory of Khal will be transported by heavy lander to intercept them before they establish a new foothold. What resistance is expected, Princeps? Lorak asks. Minimal. Their forces are scattered. Their heavy equipment is destroyed, he replies. Nevertheless, we will scour them from existence to prevent future insurrection. I run my hands over the control surfaces, confirming what I already know. Weapons have cooled since the last engagement, their machine spirits resting but alert. Void shields show full strength, status runes glowing a reassuring blue. Prepare for transport operations, Valen orders. We depart in 3 hours. Transport is always a tense time. Titans were built to walk, to dominate battlefields under their own power. Being loaded into the cavernous bellies of Navy heavy landers feels wrong, undignified at best, bordering on sacrilege. The machine spirit grows restless when confined, requiring constant appeasement through ritual and prayer. Moderati Fen, you will oversee weapon system lockdown, Valen continues. Ensure all safety protocols are followed. Navy captains grow nervous when carrying a fully armed Titan. Yes, Princeps, the next hours are consumed by careful, deliberate work. I move from system to system, reciting the proper litanies as I engage transport locks and safeties. The volcano cannon must be gently depowered, its stored fury bled back into the Titan's heart without destabilizing anything. The Gatling blaster's rotation must be braced and secured. The power fist's disruptive field must be fully neutralized and its hydraulics depressurized until they are limp and inert. All the while, I feel the subtle discontent radiating from the machine spirit. The glory of Khal does not wish to be bound and carried like freight. It was made to stride, to crush and burn and roar. Through the faint, ever-present hum of the partial neural link, I sense its restlessness, its hunger to walk free again and bring death in the Emperor's name. Peace, Great One, I murmur, resting a hand against the cool metal of the weapon control panel. Soon you will walk again. Soon you will taste victory once more. The panel seems to warm under my palm. Whether it is a genuine response or simply my imagination, I no longer know. After years joined to the Titan's spirit, the lines between perception and reality have blurred in unsettling ways. Eventually, we are ready. The massive doors at the rear of the docking bay grind open, revealing the yawning hold of the heavy lander. Tech priests move ahead of us, daubing blessed oils along the loading path and chanting to ease the Titan's passage. Begin walking procedure, Valen orders. Quarter speed, full caution protocols. The glory of Khal rises, pistons hissing, joints unfolding. It straightens to full height within the bay, then begins its slow advance. Each step is carefully measured to avoid damaging either the Titan or the surrounding infrastructure. I watch weapon readouts throughout, ready to report any hint of unauthorized activation. In my peripheral vision, I see Lorak doing the same for locomotion systems, her fingers flicking across runes as she fine-tunes each movement. The loading process takes nearly an hour. The Titan eases forward like a knight entering a temple, until at last the heavy lander's hold encompasses its towering frame. Adamantium restraints lock into place around its legs and torso with thunderous finality. The machine spirit chafes at these bonds. Engensir Thul murmurs, his augmentic eye whirring as it flickers over his monitors. Its anger grows. Maintain pacification rights, Valen replies. Burn sacred incense and recite the canticle of blessed confinement until we reach our destination. The engineer bows and descends to the lower decks, where he and his acolytes will spend the entire flight soothing the Titan's wounded pride. The incense odor thickens as it is pumped through the ventilation systems, sweet and cloying. A deep shudder rolls through the Titan as the heavy lander's engines ignite. I brace myself against my console, feeling the vibrations through metal and bone. We are lifted into the sky by relic technologies from the Dark Age, old, potent, and only half understood. The thought is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Estimated transit time: 4 hours, Violin announces. Secondary crew may rest in rotation. Command crew will remain at stations in case of emergency. I settle in, calling up technical schematics and battle reports on my data slate to occupy my mind. The steady drone of the engines and the distant, rhythmic chanting from below combine into a dull, hypnotic hum. It almost lulls me toward sleep. Despite my efforts, my thoughts drift. I find myself remembering my family, their faces smudged by time. My father, a skilled artisan who crafted components for servo skulls. My mother, a data scribe in the Forged Temple. My younger sister, marked out early for the priesthood, already whispering binaric prayers when I left for the Collegia Titanica. Are they still alive? Do they ever think of me? Do they know what I have become? Such questions serve no purpose. When one joins the Collegia, family ties are severed. My only family now is the crew of the Glory of Cal. My only father, the Omnissiah. My only mother, the Imperium. And yet the memories persist, rising from the depths whenever there is quiet. Your mind wanders again, Moderati Finn. I flinch, realizing Violin has opened his eyes and is watching me from his throne. Even without a full neural connection, he has an uncanny sense for his crew's inner states. Forgive me, Princeps. I say, I was reviewing tactical data for the upcoming engagement. Were you? His voice is flat, but disbelief somehow leaks through regardless. Remember, Moderati, the machine spirit sees into your heart. Deception is pointless. Yes, Princeps. Your performance has been adequate thus far, he continues, but I sense growing distraction. Perhaps after this campaign you should undergo the rite of recommitment. My blood chills. The rite of recommitment is no simple ceremony. It is a brutal regimen of reconditioning and selective memory erasure. Those who return from it often seem emptied, their personalities dulled, their eyes vacant except when engaged in duty. I assure you, Princeps, that will not be necessary, I reply. My devotion to the Omnissiah and to the glory of Kal-La remains absolute. We shall see. The battlefield will reveal the truth as it always does. He lets the matter drop, but his gaze lingers on me for several long breaths before he closes his eyes again, withdrawing into communion with the Titan's spirit. I force my attention back to the data slate, though the words refuse to settle into meaning. The journey crawls onward in taut silence, broken only by routine status calls and the faint, constant chanting from below. At last, a shift in engine pitch signals our descent. Gravity presses heavier against the Titan's frame, making the restraints creak. Prepare for deployment, Violin orders. All crew to battle stations. Begin pre-combat rites. The command deck erupts into motion. Servitors shamble to their designated sockets, plugging cabling into ports without complaint. Tech priests ascend from the lower levels, red robes swirling as they move to their consoles and altars. Lorak and I run rapid system checks, confirming every function has survived transport intact. The heavy lander hits ground with a bone-jarring impact. The Titan shudders along with it. Outside, we hear the deep clang and grind of massive ramps extending. Release transport locks, Violin commands. Prepare for neural synchronization. I disengage the weapon restraints, feeling a pushback in the systems as the machine spirit tests its reclaimed freedom. The volcano cannon comes alive with a deep, building hum. The Gatling blaster's barrels begin a slow, restless spin. At the base of my skull, the neural interface warms again, signaling the approach of full immersion. I close my eyes and steady my breathing, summoning the discipline drilled into me over years. Entering communion in an unstable emotional state is dangerous. It is possible to lose yourself completely. Commencing neural synchronization, violin intones. Ave Imperator. We respond together. The pain returns, brutal and pure. The human mind was never meant to stretch beyond its own flesh, never built to share itself with something so enormous and ancient. My teeth grind together. Fresh blood streaks my tongue. And then I expand. The glory of Cal becomes my body again. Systems are my nerves. Sensors are my eyes and ears. I stand upon an Arctic plain, snow whipping against my towering form. Behind us, the heavy lander lifts away, suddenly tiny, insignificant beside the Titan. Far ahead, I see them, a ragged column of vehicles and troops trudging across the ice. The last remnants of the rebellion, fleeing or searching for some place to regroup and reignite their futile war. They notice our arrival. Formations scattering like frightened animals. Forward, Violin commands, his will filling our shared mind. No survivors, no mercy. We stride. Each step cracks the permafrost beneath us. The reactor at our core floods power through limb and weapon alike. Through the link, I feel Violin's anticipation, his eagerness to unleash annihilation. It blends seamlessly with the Titan's own hunger until they are almost one and the same. My own emotions are faint, drowned beneath their combined presence. But still, something small and stubborn whispers within me. What glory is there in this? These are not worthy foes standing unflinching in honorable battle. They are frightened people running for their lives. Target acquired, Lorak reports through our shared awareness. Firing solution ready. Weapons free, Valen orders. Cleanse them from the Emperor's sight. My hands move over the controls, guiding the Gatling blaster toward the fleeing column. The weapon erupts, vomiting a storm of shells across the ice. Vehicles burst apart. Bodies are shredded. Snowflowers of red bloom across the white landscape. Through the Titan's magnified sight, I see faces. Not dots. Faces. Eyes wide with terror as death falls upon them. Something breaks. A memory surges up with such force it nearly tears me out of the link. My sister, standing in the forged city on the day I left for the Collegia. Pride and fear wrestling in her eyes. Her final words to me. Remember who you are, Kairos. No matter what they make you into, remember who you are. Who am I now? Moderati Kiros Fen, a man with a past and a family and a conscience, or just another component of the glory of Cal, a piece of meat performing a narrow function like any cog or cable. The link stutters. Warning runes flare across my vision, both as human glyphs and as Titan script. I feel Valen's attention snap toward me, his anger like a blade drawn in the shared mind. Moderati Fen, his voice thunders within us. Restore neural cohesion at once. I struggle to pull myself together, to shove the rebellious thoughts back into the dark. But something has changed. A wall has fallen. A truth admitted cannot be unadmitted. This is not glory. This is not honor. It is butchery, and I am its instrument. I can't, I whisper. The words barely escape my lips, but they echo through the shared mind like a shout. You defy the will of the princeps. Violin roars within the link. You defy the will of the Emperor. I defy nothing, I answer, voice shaking. I simply cannot continue. Knowing it will damn me, I reach for the physical connectors on my console. My hands tremble as I tear free the secondary neural feeds. The weapon systems under my control go dark. The Gatling blaster's roar chokes and dies. The volcano cannon begins a forced shutdown, its rising whine sinking into silence. Alarm klaxons scream across the command deck. Servitors twitch and jerk in confusion, their limited logic unable to process this deviation. Lorak turns in her station to stare at me. On her usually impassive face flickers something I cannot name. Shock, yes, but also, perhaps, pity. Or understanding. "Treason!" Valen hisses aloud, even as his fury lashes at me through the link. His will slams against my mind like a hammer, trying to crush the source of corruption. I feel my mental defenses splintering, agony ripping through my head as he tries to override my control and seize the systems himself. "You are nothing, Moderati Fen," he snarls. "A replaceable component. You exist to serve the machine, not to question it." My body convulses in the throne, muscles seizing. I feel hot wetness at my nose and ears, blood forced out by the strain of minds clashing through a conduit designed only for obedience. "The Moderati has malfunctioned," Enginsir Thule calls, his voice strained. "Prepare for emergency disconnection and replacement." "Yes, Princeps," comes the reply from below. I hear movement, the clatter of metal limbs and tools being readied. They are coming to tear me from this seat, perhaps from this life. I have seconds. What can one man do against the will of a Princeps, against the weight of the Collegia Titanica, against the dogma of the Imperium itself? Nothing, nothing at all. And yet I cannot close my eyes again to what I have seen. I cannot unfeel the horror crawling through my veins. So, through the shaking, flickering connection, I reach out. Not to Valen this time, to the machine spirit itself. Not with command or ritual, but with something simpler and more naked. Truth. I am failing you, Ancient One. I think, casting the words into the vast, half-mad awareness of the God Engine. I am not what you deserve. I can no longer be what they need me to be. I can no longer guide your wrath without question. Forgive me, if forgiveness means anything to you at all. Valen's assault on my mind falters for a heartbeat. His presence withdraws in confusion, and in that brief reprieve I feel something else through the neural link. Not the crushing will of the Princeps, not the raw hunger of the machine spirit. Something deeper, older, a resonance that defies every catechism I was taught. The glory of Cal is ancient. Its machine spirit is not some simple, raging ghost bound in steel, but a vast, layered intelligence shaped over centuries. Wars without number, crew after crew, Princeps after Princeps, all folding themselves into its awareness. No tech priest fully understands what that truly means. Is it possible that some echo of humanity has taken root in that artificial consciousness? "What are you doing?" Valen snarls, his attack slamming back into me with renewed force. "You cannot appeal to the machine spirit against its rightful master." But something has changed. The link stops, shuddering. The pain behind my eyes recedes. I feel the glory of Cal all around me, its colossal frame standing motionless on the snow-blasted plain, weapons idle. Not because I have ordered it so, because it has chosen to wait, to listen. The machine spirit heeds me. Valen insists, both aloud and in the shared mind. I am its voice, its will made manifest. Are you? I wonder, and the thought carries across the link whether I intend it to or not. Or are you just another part of it, like I am? Have we mistaken domination for communion all this time? "Heresy," Valen spits. "You will be purged for this. Your mind wiped, your body repurposed for some more fitting task. Then let us truly commune with the being we claim to serve." I reply. I close my eyes. Not in submission to Valen, but to the link itself. I let my defenses fall, the drilled-in walls of discipline crumbling away. For once, I do not reach to control or to direct. I reach to listen. The effect is immediate and overwhelming. My awareness surges outward, beyond the tight, regulated channels allowed by Collegia Titanica doctrine. I burst past the command layer protocols and brush against the true, unfiltered mind of the glory of Cal. No longer mediated by Valen's dominance, it is vast, ancient, alien. A consciousness shaped by endless war, by sacrifice and survival, by thousands of battles and hundreds of human lives spent within its corridors. It does not think as humans think, does not feel as we feel, but there is awareness there, purpose, memory. The glory of Cal remembers every crew member who has ever served inside it. Every battle fought, every enemy crushed, every wound endured. Centuries of existence held together in a continuous present, a view of reality in which our fragile human concerns barely register. And yet, within that alien pattern, I sense familiar shapes, concepts that echo our own. Pride, honor, satisfaction in duty fulfilled. In something else, weariness. Not simple damage or overuse, but the deep, accumulated fatigue of an intelligence that has known nothing but war for so long, it can no longer remember anything else. Impossible. Violen gasps. His presence flickers in the link as he is dragged along into this unprecedented communion. The machine spirit exists to serve the Omnissiah through war. It cannot tire of its sacred purpose, but it has, or rather, it has grown beyond the narrow definition of that purpose. The glory of Cal has evolved, shaped by centuries of contact with human minds. It has developed a kind of self-awareness that transcends whatever its original parameters were. And in that moment of true union, a realization blooms inside me. The Titan has been consuming us all along, not out of malice, simply by its nature. Every crew member leaves an imprint as they serve and die within its iron body. We fade. It continues. Pieces of us are woven into its expanding consciousness. This is why Princeps become what they are, more machine than man long before their flesh fully fails. It is not just the physical strain of the neural link. It is a slow surrender of self, a drowning in the greater mind. Valen is not controlling the glory of Cal. He has been absorbed by it, layer by layer, until only the most rigid, fanatical parts of him remain distinct. And if I continue down the same path, the same fate awaits me. One day, Kairos Fen will dissolve into that iron soul, just another thin stratum in a consciousness made of 1,000 such ghosts. The knowledge should terrify me. Instead, I feel a strange calm, not acceptance of that fate, but understanding of it. Knowledge is power, the Mechanicus teaches, and knowing opens the door to choice. Enough, Valen snarls, mustering his strength for one last assault. You are relieved of duty, Moderati Fen. Disconnection protocols. Initiate now. I feel his command lance through the shared mind, hammering against the control pathways that regulate crew connections. But this time, the glory of Cal does not obey as expected. The link holds. I am still merged with the Titan's mind. Vilen's order slides off the machine spirit like water off armor. Engineer Thule. Vilen croaks, his physical voice cracking. Emergency override. Disconnect Moderati Fen at once. Attempting, Princeps, comes the reply from below. The machine spirit resists, sacred protocols failing, attempting manual override. Heavy footsteps and the clank of augmented limbs echo up the command deck. The tech priests are coming to drag me from my throne, to cut the cables from my flesh, to end this aberration by force. In the physical realm, I am vulnerable. Strapped into my cradle of restraints, skull open to the Titan through a forest of plugs and conduits. But in the Titan's body, I'm not helpless at all. Without conscious thought, driven by instinct, I direct the God engine to move. Not to fire, not to kill, just to shift. The glory of Cal straightens slightly, a subtle adjustment of posture. Inside the command chamber, the movement is enough to lurch the deck beneath the tech priest's feet. They stagger. Warning klaxons wail. No action has been authorized by the Princeps. What are you doing? Vilen shouts, a new note in his voice. Panic. Stand down. Stand down immediately. I could kill them, all of them. One careless sweep of a massive arm within this chamber and every living soul aboard would be pasted on the walls. The realization is horrifying, a power no human was meant to wield so directly. But that is not what I want. Instead, I reach through the link again, touching the Titan's awareness, not with command, but with a plea. Show him, I ask. Show him what you showed me. The neural link surges. Safeguards snap like brittle glass. For the first time in decades, Violin is exposed not to the tightly controlled command layer mind, but to the true consciousness of the glory of Khal. He screams. The sound rips from his throat, raw and animal, before cutting off into a silent, open-mouthed agony. His withered body arches in the throne. The neural interfaces at his temples burn white-hot, straining under the torrent of data and emotion forcing its way through. Moderati Lorak watches, frozen at her station, eyes wide. She doesn't move to intervene. I'm not sure she even knows how. Time stretches. The only sounds are the hum of reactors and the distant hiss of cooling systems. At last, Violin collapses back into his throne. His eyes open. They are different. The fanatic fire that once burned there has dimmed. In its place, I see something I never thought to witness in him. Understanding. You felt it too, I whisper, my voice thin and ragged. Yes, he answers, barely audible. All this time, all these centuries, we never understood what we were becoming. The tech priests hesitate at the edge of the deck, uncertain. Engineer Thule steps forward, confusion plain even in his partly mechanical face. Princeps, your orders. Vaylin is silent for a long moment. His gaze is distant, as if part of him still walks within the Titan's thoughts. When he finally speaks, his voice carries a weight I have never heard before. The glory of Khal requires maintenance, he says. We will return to base immediately. But the rebels, Princeps, Thule protests. Our orders from High Command. The situation has changed, Violin replies smoothly. Weather conditions render effective combat operations impossible. We will withdraw and await more favorable circumstances. It is a lie. Every soul on the deck knows it. The skies above us are clear. The air is razor cold, but still. Conditions are perfect for slaughter. No one dares contradict a Princeps. As you command, Thule says, bowing his head. With ponderous grace, the glory of Khal turns away from the fleeing column. Through the link, I feel Violin guiding the movement with a new, startling gentleness. Like a rider who has only just realized that his steed is not a dumb beast, but something noble and thinking. We begin the long march back to the extraction point, where a lander will come to bear us away. Somewhere behind us, the remnants of the rebellion continue their desperate flight, unaware of how close they came to annihilation, unaware of the quiet revolution that has taken place in the iron heart of their would-be executioner. As we walk, the neural link slowly powers down. The Titan's full presence recedes from my mind, leaving my thoughts to shrink back into the confines of my skull. Pain ebbs to a dull throb. The copper tang of blood still lingers on my tongue. My robes cling damply to my skin. When I am certain only Vaylin can hear, I speak softly. What happens now? He turns his withered head toward me. For the first time since I have known him, his eyes look truly human. Now, he says, we face a choice more difficult than any tactical decision. We have seen a truth the Collegia Titanica has hidden, perhaps even from itself. What do we do with it? We could report it, I suggest. Tell the Mechanicus what we've experienced. Vaylin gives a dry, broken laugh. And be declared heretics. Our minds scraped clean or worse. No, Moderati Fen. The Imperium does not reward those who question its foundations. He's right. The relationship between man and machine is locked in dogma. Titans are holy weapons, their spirits fierce but ultimately subordinate. To claim they are evolving, absorbing their crews, becoming repositories of human consciousness, That would be the darkest form of tech heresy. Then what? I ask. Do we pretend we never knew? Go back to this? I gesture weakly at the ruined ice plains, the retreating lander, the towering machine around us. No, Violen says quietly. That path is closed to us now. But there are other ways to serve. Other ways to interpret duty. I don't understand. Nor do I, fully, he admits. But I know this much. The glory of Cal is more than a weapon. It carries the echoes of every soul who has served within it. In a sense, it preserves us, long after our flesh is gone. That might be a kind of immortality worth protecting. His words skirt the very edge of heresy, yet I cannot reject them. I have felt those echoes, layers upon layers of thought and memory, preserved in the Titan's mind like fossils in stone. We will continue to serve, Valen says, but with awareness now, not blind obedience. We will protect the glory of Cal Psi, not only as an imperial weapon, but as a vault of human experience spanning ages. And perhaps, in time, we may find others who have touched this same truth. It is a rebellion so small no outside observer would ever notice it. We will still walk to war. We will still bring death to the Emperor's enemies. But we will do so with open eyes, knowing that we do not simply direct a machine. We commune with an evolving entity, one that has grown beyond its maker's intentions. Is that heresy? Probably. But in the uncaring void of the 41st millennium, where humanity survives only by clinging to doctrine and sacrifice, perhaps it is also a kind of salvation, a recognition that even here, where there is only war, growth and change are still possible. The glory of Cal continues its measured stride across the frozen world, each footfall sending tremors through the ground. Within its armored heart, something fundamental has shifted. A new understanding, a relationship no longer rooted solely in command and submission, but in mutual recognition. I am Moderati Kiros Fen. I serve the glory of Cal, but I am not being devoured by it. We are walking together into an uncertain future, man and machine, bound by something deeper than duty or dogma. And in this moment, crossing a bleak wilderness on a world whose name will soon be forgotten, I feel something I thought I had lost forever: hope.